Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Brianna, and for those of you who are returning back, welcome back, and for those of you who are brand new, welcome to the family. So before we jump into this warm toned fall makeup look, I wanted to talk a little bit about why I have been away. I feel like it's been 2 weeks since I posted my last video, something like that, but I have been hard at work creating an Etsy shop. So I have a really big passion for candles. You probably notice in every single one of my videos, I have a candle burning in the background. I have candles surrounding my tub. I love to light them at night whenever I am relaxing or whenever I'm working on something. So I decided that I wanted to create candles that, for one, had more natural scents, and then as well as having candles that didn't release toxins into the air. So for those of you who don't know, a lot of the candles that you can buy in the store are made with paraffin wax, which releases toxins into the air and can be really harmful for not only adults, but for children as well. So I created 2 different natural options, and I will have my Etsy shop listed right here. The name of the store, it is called Simply Be Store. And then I will also have all of the links listed down below in the description box. So if you are interested in at least checking it out, then you can go ahead and head over to it whenever you are ready. So first off, we have beeswax candles. So this is one of my candles right here. This is the rose geranium scent, and I just love it so much. First off, I want to talk about the packaging that I chose. Here is a little close-up of it. So we have the twine wrapped around with my little label right here, which if you don't appreciate this kind of look, then you can simply just cut that off, and then you have a clear jar. So up top, we have the metal lid that pops off, and it has a seal. So all of the scent is going to stay in here and make the scent last longer for your candle, which is really nice. And then up here, we can see that we have some rose petals in it. So I decided to go with kind of external labeling. So I wanted something to where you could cut it off, because I know a lot of homes have different types of decor, obviously. So it's a very clear package, so you don't have to worry about a sticker. Sometimes whenever I purchase candles from other places and it has the sticker, I'm like, that doesn't really go with the look of my house or wherever I decide to place the candle. So sometimes I'll peel it off, or I'll like turn the candle around. So that's why I decided to go with an external label right here. And then as far as what is in the beeswax candle, I have 2 options. I have the beeswax, which is 100% natural, and then I have the soy candle, which I will talk about in just a minute. But right now we have 12 ounces, which is this size. And then we have 4 ounces, which is the smaller size. And it's the same exact type of packaging. So same jar, just smaller. And then it has the same lid as well. So if you decide to purchase multiples, they kind of go together. So for the beeswax candle, you have beeswax, coconut oil, essential oils, and then dried florals. And that is all that goes into my 100% natural beeswax candles. I wanted to make the ingredients very, very few, as well as 100% natural. So my dad is a bee farmer, and I purchased beeswax initially from another company, and then I'm going to start purchasing beeswax from my dad's company. So you know exactly where it is coming from, which is awesome. And as far as the scent goes, I have 2 options for my beeswax candle at this point. For one, I have unscented, because my mom has really, really severe allergies, as well as my brother, and they like the idea of having a candle because it's nice, right? Like it can set a really calming and relaxing atmosphere, but sometimes the scents, even with essential oils, are just too much for their allergies. So I have the non-scented option where you just get the candle. And then I also have the rose geranium, which literally smells like an actual flower. It's not going to have that synthetic flower smell because it is the essential oil from the actual flower. So it would be just like if you were to put your nose up into a rose or geranium, and it is going to smell exactly like that. And this one, it definitely lights up the entire room. So if you are sensitive to scent, then I would recommend the non-scented option, but this one is a really, really beautiful floral scent. So then we have the soy wax option, which is actually $5 cheaper per like size comparison. So the beeswax candle for the 12 ounce is going to be $20, and then for the soy wax candle, the 12 ounce option is $15. So it's $5 cheaper, and all shipping is free from my Etsy shop, which is awesome. But the soy wax is really great as well because the soy does not release toxins into the air, and it helps to deodorize. So it's just kind of a step lower from the beeswax, but it's still non-toxic. And then for this one, I use not essential oils, but I will use natural scents. So there's like a whole thing online that you can look at in case you are curious. But within the soy candle, we have the soy wax, a little bit of coconut oil, and then just the natural scent. So for this one, I have lavender, and then I also have peach mango, and then I also have the non-scented option as well, which is even cheaper than the scented option. Wanted to throw that in there. So in case you are curious about my candles, go ahead and head over to my Etsy shop. I would love for you to stop by, favorite my shop, and if you really want to buy a candle for me, that would be awesome. And if you do decide to, please leave a review if you tend to enjoy the candles. So that is what I have been super busy at work with, just getting that shop running because it's something that I have been wanting to do for quite some time. And I am actually going to start experimenting with all natural facial scrubs. So stay tuned for that. It's in the works. It's in the process right now. So I will slowly be adding some different options to my shop for not just candles, but for other things as well. Anyways, if you are not interested in that at all, then you just want to watch my video, let's go ahead and jump on in. All right, so for today's look, we are going to be starting off with the face. So I am going to prime my face with the Smashbox Photo Finish Priming Water, just giving a few squirts of that. And I've noticed that whenever I use this primer, it has a little bit of like a tackiness to it. I know a lot of people, whenever it first came out, they were like, is this even going to work? Because it's a primer water, and that concept was just really new. And I've just found that it really actually does help my makeup stay longer than whenever I don't use that primer. So I really, really like it, and it's also refreshing, and it adds moisture back into my skin, which this time of the year, I've talked a lot about it. My skin just tends to be more patchy and dry whenever we get into the colder months, even though it is still astronomically hot here in Florida. For some reason, like the actual winter months are just, well, and fall. They're just, I don't know, they're bad for my skin. Even if we don't have a lot of coldness quite yet, it's just the way that the atmosphere is changing with the weather pressure and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's how it is. So anyways, I'm going to stop boring you with that, and I'm going to move on to the Physicians Formula, the Healthy Foundation. This one is in the shade LN3, so light neutral 3, which is my color right now. I haven't really been outside a whole lot these past several weeks just because I've been super busy doing a bunch of stuff, which y'all will see coming up in the next coming months. Some really huge life changes are happening, and I am very, very excited, but at the same time terrified, because anytime there are big changes in life, it can be really scary. So I have been just busy getting all of that situated, and yeah, so I haven't had a whole lot of time outside in the nice weather. So anyways, I'm like rambling today because I feel like I haven't been on camera in so long, other than for my book channel, which if you are interested in watching that, I am really just talking all about my writing process because I have decided to participate in this year's NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month. Happens every November, and it is where several thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of authors come together through social media and different in vivo workshops, and they try to write 50,000 words for their book, whatever book it is, in the month of November, so 30 days, which I'm very excited about. And I actually have decided to put my contemporary novel, which I've talked a lot about here on my channel, I've decided to put that to rest for right now. I'm not even sure if I will pick it back up, but we shall see. So I decided to go with my fantasy novel idea instead, and it's really, really coming together, and I'm super excited about it. So I'm noticing that my face is just not, I don't know, it's not really makeup ready. I haven't been taking care of my skin the way that I normally do. I've kind of been going to bed without washing my face. I haven't been wearing a ton of makeup over the past several weeks, really. I mean, every now and then I will, but for the most part, I've just been going without makeup and just not taking a lot of care of my skin. So you'll probably be able to see that. Sometimes the camera makes my skin look way better than it is. And then I have a lot of people who are like, oh my gosh, your skin is like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I'm like, listen, it's an HD camera, and for some reason it like blurs all of my imperfections. So it is not as fantastic as it looks. But I'm just taking this concealer and I'm kind of putting it in the places where I need just a little bit of extra coverage. This is the Milani Retouch and Erase Light Lifting Concealer. So it's a little bit of a thicker formula. And I'm just going to buff that out with my damp beauty sponge all over my face. And this is also going to light up the center of my face because, again, my skin right now is much lighter than it was just a couple of weeks ago. Really want to get back out into the sunshine, maybe go to the beach this weekend because it, like I said, it still is in the 80s here. So I might try to do that if I have the time this weekend. And as far as like all of the life changes, some of them are like at the beginning of this video, I'm going to have an introduction of my Etsy shop with my candles and everything. So you will see that. But it's also just other stuff that is kind of in the works of being huge, like really, really big life changes. And I promise as soon as I get everything situated, I will talk about that and my decision process and everything. But it's all good things to come. Things that are in the works that are going to be really, really great. All right, so now I'm going to be using the Cover FX translucent powder. This is the first time that I am trying it. I talked about this in, I believe it was just my last video, the makeup haul that I did for the Ulta sale. So I'm going to take a little bit of that on a brush and just sweep it over my eyes so that this is ready to go in with eyeshadow. And then I will also use it to hit those areas of my face to where I tend to get a little bit more oily throughout the day. So my forehead right here in the center. This is nice. It is like blurring right there, which is great. And then right next to my nose. Holy cow. All right, I feel like I really like this already. And on my nose, and then a little bit over my chin. All right, well, I'm not mad about this powder so far. And then I'm going to take some of it on my damp beauty sponge, which it's like not, oh, okay. It just came out everywhere. It's like a weird thing because you can't, oh, I guess I could dip it into the lid. Duh. All right, so I'm just gonna dip some of this out onto the lid right here and then take it so I can bake with it. Right underneath the eyes. Oh yes, honey. So hopefully this doesn't leave a really bad white cast. Okay, so for the eyes, I'm going to be using the Morphe 35V palette. I actually just randomly saw this one day when my mom and I went to Ulta, and it is beautiful. Like, I just love it. It felt like the perfect fall and winter palette because over here we have a lot of the warm shades, and then we have cranberries and purples, pops of like a vibrant orange red, and then we have some blues and greens to play with for the holidays. So I just thought it was the perfect palette to pick up and experiment with. For today's video, I'm going to be doing just kind of like a basic light brown smoky eye on the lid. That way I can go in with like a more bold lip and it doesn't look too much, you know what I'm saying? Because today I'm just going to be running some errands, working on my book at a coffee shop, so I don't want to look too beat today, and it's been a while since I've done my makeup, so I'm kind of just getting back into the swing of things. So to start off, I'm going to go in with, what do I want? With this shade right here. It came with a clear film that had the names on it, but I hate whenever they do that because I'm not going to keep the film and then have to put it over it to know what the name is. That just is stupid to me. So I'm going to go in with this shade right here, whatever it is called. It's just a really pretty light camel brown. And ooh, I haven't swatched this. I didn't even swatch it in the store. I just know that the Morphe eyeshadow palettes are getting better and better, so I just kind of went with chance. All right, so I'm just going to lightly start dusting this into the crease. Oh yeah, that's pigmented. Definitely don't have any problems with this. Oh, and it's going on so smoothly. So I'm just going to buff this into the crease, and then whenever I have less product on my brush, I will slowly start moving it up towards the brow so it's diffused. And then I'm actually going to take a little bit more and then just start to sweep that over my entire lid, because I'm actually just going to go in with an all matte look today. I'm not going to be using any shimmer, even though the shimmers in this palette look like pressed pigment. They look absolutely gorgeous. Maybe I'll swatch a couple for you in case you are interested in this palette and you don't have like an Ulta or a Morphe store near you, you can see what they look like. All right, so now I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is kind of like a greenish camel. It has a little bit of a green undertone to it, and I'm going to take that same exact brush and I'm just going to keep this lower in that crease area and then bring it down onto the lid. So this one I am not going to be going high with it. So I'm going to keep it in that crease and then actually bring it low right in here, going back and forth. And if you need to lift up your brow like I'm doing here so that you can really see that crease area, then I recommend doing that. And then whatever is left, I am just going to take and drag over the rest of my lid. I just really want this look to be super blown out and kind of effortless looking. I don't want there to be any harsh lines, anything like that. So I'm just keeping it all nice and tight and then blow it out whenever I have less product on the brush. All right, to add a little bit more depth to the look, I'm going in with this shade right here. It's kind of like a sunset orange. It's really pretty, but it's not too much of a pop like this one. So I'm going to take a little bit of this on my Morphe E22 brush. So it's like this, and I'm literally just going to lightly pack this into that outer V and keep it really nice and low. So I'm gonna keep it right here and then kind of move it towards the center of the eye. So I'm really lifting up that brow, just kind of placing it right there. And it's not going to look blended at first, but we're gonna go back in and make sure that it is. But we're just packing this color on to start. You definitely wanna make sure that this doesn't get too high and move above that crease. All right, so now we're gonna go back in with that camel green color right here. And I'm going to work this into that outer V, but keeping it nice and low, not lifting it too high up. So I'm gonna go right over where I just put that shadow and then start blending it inward towards that inner V. So this is gonna drag some of that orange color in as well, keeping it nice and low. All right, so now I'm going to take this Pinky Vanilla shade in the palette, and I'm going to use that to highlight my brow bone. And I love doing this step because it just cleans up the look and it brings everything together. So I'm just taking a little synthetic flat top brush, not flat top, but flat. And then I'm just going to carve out right under that brow bone. And I say this a million times, but for those of you who are new to my channel, I love doing this step also, not only to highlight that brow area, but it cleans up any shadow that got too high up, and it makes the look more put together. So there are times whenever we don't necessarily want to do this step if we're going for a really, you know, dramatic like Halloween look or something like that. But if you want there to be definition between your eye look and your brow, then you definitely want to do this step. All right, so now I'm going to dust all of this powder away. So that definitely leaves a very smooth, it even feels smooth, texture right there. So as far as the powder goes, so far, so good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the eyes for now so that I can move on to the rest of my face. So I'm going to be using the Stila Stay All Day Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner in the shade Moss. So it's this really beautiful hunter green brown. And I'm trying to remember, I feel like I've used this one before. I think it will be my brown one that I haven't used. So I'm just going to do a tiny little wing, nothing too dramatic because I'm not wearing lashes. I'm just going to be putting on some mascara. So I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera because I have to get really, really close to the mirror. I am not good at winged eyeliner yet, but I will be right back. All right, so now that I have my little baby wings on, I'm going in with the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner, which I feel like I heard that these were discontinued, which is super unfortunate. I haven't checked myself if they are, but if they are, that's kind of a bummer because they're really good. But this one is in the shade Fast Lane, which is a really beautiful hunter green as well. So I'm just going to put this in my waterline. Oh my gosh, this always tickles so bad. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back in with this shade right here and use a flat definer brush to put that really, really tight against my lower lashes. I can get a mirror. Oh my gosh, this color is so pretty. And then I'm going to use that lightest shade from the palette on a pencil brush, just swirl that around, and then use that to buff out that lower lash line. Okay, so now that the eyes are pretty much done, I'm going to fill in my brows, and then since I am using a liquid, obviously, setting mist, I'm going to wait until the very end to do my mascara, so I'm gonna look a little bit wonky and weird for the rest of the video, but that's okay. All right, so my brows are done. Now I'm going to move on to bronzer because as you can see, the foundation and with that powder, it's a little bit lighter than the rest of my body. So I'm going in with the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer. This one's in the shade Ticket to Brazil, so it is pretty consistent with my skin tone for the rest of my body. So I'm just going to use this with a Real Techniques buffing brush. So I'm just gonna swirl that in there. Woo! That's a lot of pigment that came off. Now I'm just going to kind of buff that where I would normally contour, but this is not a contouring brush, so it's gonna be more diffused. I love this bronzer because it is finely milled enough to where you can literally just swirl your brush around in it and you're going to get pigment, but it's not gonna be like a crazy amount of pigment to where it's scary to use, if that makes sense. So put a little bit along my jawline just to warm that area up. Now for blush, I'm going to dive into my Tarte Bling It On blush palette, and I'm going to use the shade Prim right here. I love this shade so much, especially for the fall and winter months. Actually, I'm going to combine Prim and Fetching, so these two right here. Yes, They're pretty. I'm lightly dusting this on. I'm not like really digging in with my brush because these blushes are very pigmented. All right, I think that looks pretty good. I'm trying to decide if I want to use highlight or not because it's like an all matte look. I'm not going to use highlight today, which I feel like is super weird for me to say, but I just feel like it doesn't go with this look. So I'm gonna forgo the highlight and I'm going to move on to my lips. So this is the ColourPop Lippy Stick in the shade Daydream. So it's a matte X, which I guess means it's extra matte, but I picked these up at the Ulta sale. They weren't on sale, but long story short, I got these instead of the Buxom lip product that I was going to purchase. So I will try it out for the first time on camera. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just have to say that there were points to where I was barely touching this onto my lips and it is so creamy and opaque and pigmented. This is amazing. I'm really excited to see how it wears throughout the day. I'm honestly blown away. Like for a lipstick that is really matte, this is absolutely gorgeous. I'm super, super impressed. All right, so now before I wrap up with my mascara, I'm going to be using the Morphe Continuous Spray Mist. I have feelings about this, but again, I said that I was going to try it with a variety of different combinations. Sometimes it works, and then other times I'm like, I don't see any effect of this kind of melting my products together. So we'll see how it works with this combo. It does smell very good. I will give it that. So to wrap it up, I'm just going to be using 2 coats of the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes mascara, and then we will be all done. All right, so that is going to complete this warm toned fall makeup look. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if it did, please give me a thumbs up, leave some comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell so you are notified whenever I post new videos. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Bye.